I have bought over 90 books so far this year, so let's try to read as many of them as possible during the month of November, and it is your pick. Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is something I have been waiting to do all year, and it is my November TBR, which might sound like, why did you look forward to that? It's because I'm gonna do a specific challenge most of the month. Let's start with everything that isn't part of this challenge, and then we're gonna talk about it. So the first book I'm gonna be reading in November is the Patreon Book Club pick of the month. I made you vote, as always, and you ended up choosing The Jasmine Throne, which I'm really excited because I'm finally feeling like I'm in the mood to read some fantasy books, which I have been neglecting that genre, following at least a princess trying to get revenge. I know there's magic, I know there's a sapphic romance, but this has been on my TBR ever since it came out, and I have never had the motivation to pick it up. It's a bit chunky, but it is a fantasy, and like I said, in the last 2 years I've been neglecting that genre. So I'm really excited that we're going to be reading this together. I'm really hoping we're going to like this. But yes, that's the first one that I for sure am reading during the month of November. Also for the month of November, December, our classic pick is Madame Bovary, which I will be reading in French because it's my first language. You don't have to read in French. You don't even have to read in English. But this is the classic we're reading for those 2 months, and I'm a little nervous. And I got intrigued because I heard people say that, oh, you know, Eve wrote like a really good female character, and I'm like, I want to know if it's true or not. So this is going to be our classic for the month of November, December. I don't know if I'm going to have time for it in November, but I will read it before the end of the year for sure, because we're already at the end of the year. Anyway, so the challenge, the reason we're here that I'm this excited, it's because throughout the whole year, I've been doing my read it or unhaul it challenge, and I'm going to still do it 1 week in November. And I've been going through all the books that are unread on my shelves, which actually this giant jar, beginning of the year, contained 400 books that were unread on my shelf. I think it was 411. And I've since been going through it very slowly, and everything else that I've bought during the year, I've been keeping them in this cabinet over there. Let me show you what it looks like. It's a lot. I do need to recount them. I mean, the end of the year is not really here, but next year I'm going to do the challenge again. So I'm going to have to write down all of them and put them in the jar so we can start fresh. My goal was never to actually reduce the books that I own. Disclaimer, because that's definitely not the case. I'll definitely start the year with more books in 2024 than I did in 2023, but that's fine. That's fine. But yes, there's about 80-90 books that I'm adding to my list, so that I've bought this year and that I haven't read since buying them. And the ones that I bought I already had read are not part of that cabinet. So yeah, it's a lot of books, and obviously if we can reduce that number a little bit before we have to add them to the jar, might as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing the 3 other weeks-ish of November. So I'm solely reading books that I bought in 2023. And I'm glad that we're picking this one up too, because that's also something that I bought in 2023. So we're just right on team. There's one ebook that I wanted to mention before I forget, because I will forget. I can't be the only one. I forget that ebooks exist, and then once in a while I'll just binge read them. So the first one that I want to read is Blood Over Bright Haven. This is an adult standalone fantasy written by the same author as The Sword of Kaijin, which I read after forgetting it existed for like 2-3 years, and I gave it 5-star, loved it, and she wrote another book. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I know, again, fantasy, that there's magic, and I think it's similarly to the other book, it's like survival. Either way, yes, so many of you told me that this just came out and it was like so good, and I am obviously desperate to find more fantastic books, so that's the first one that I really want to read. I'm going to show you all of them super quickly, just telling you which ones I really want to read, and you can tell me no. Or just tell me, like, you should also really add this one to your TBR, because originally I wanted to try and read one from like each genre, but since I've been in a reading slump, I don't want to make it too difficult on myself, so, you know. But yes, I don't know what technique I should do. I probably should just show you them quickly on the screen while I'm talking, but we're not going to do that. So fantasy, let's keep going, since we're clearly in the mood and we don't want to disturb that. So another fantasy I really want to read is First Frost. This is the follow-up to Garden Spells, which was the book I was describing as Practical Magic 2.0. I have been in search of like modern witches books for years, and I really enjoyed the first one, and since I urgently bought the second one right away, I will be reading this one because I doubt it's going to be as good as the first one. I feel like it's rare that you find a cozy fantasy that is so good that the second book is even better. Like, not everything can be Shrek, so I'm trying to go into it with lower expectations, but I'm really, really excited. So that's definitely on my list. The rest, it's up to you. Should I pick one up? Should I not? We have The Revenge Story, Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. She broke my heart with the Greenbone Saga this year, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready. We have Coziness with Can't Spell Trees and Without Tea. I really want to read this one, but like, I'm scared. Okay, The House Witch, another cozy one. The Ex-Hex, which is a witch, obviously hexing her ex. A few told me that it wasn't the best, but it's romance and I'm kind of in the mood for something light, so maybe. We have these two because a lot of you told me that this was better than Fourth Wing or was heavily inspired. So we have Dragonlight and Chronicle of Pern. I think this one is the first one I should start with. Let me know. Interview with the Vampire, never picked it up. Iron Widow, which you guys told me was a hit and miss, but I really want to support this author. We have The Unbroken, which also with sapphic romance. Sheep Farmer's Daughter, something I would have never picked up, but I read something else by the author and really liked it, so Ella Enchanted, because why not? Never read that. The Master and the Margarita, which a lot of you told me I should read. Chalice? Oh, I'm having flashbacks of when I bought this because this is a swear word in Quebecois. That's why though, so I don't know. We have The Helm of Midnight and we have Hellbent. I think these are all the fantasy, so let's switch to sci-fi. I bought so many sci-fi this year. I think not all of them are sci-fi because I'm noticing right now The Deep. Shouldn't that be fantasy? This is like horror book, I believe. You have the descendant of black women who were thrown overboard by slave owners. And I said when I bought it that I wished it was a revenge story, but a lot of you told me it's more about like generational trauma. So not big though. I've been meaning to read this book for years. Oh, that's another sci-fi. This one is The Mountain in the Sea, which I might include in challenge next year though, so I don't necessarily need to read it now, but it's about octopi, octopuses, smart ones, which it's a common theme. I've read a couple books with that and I want to continue. We have Shift, which is the second book in the Silo series, which I read the first book, I want to say like 6 years ago. But I watched a TV show and it made me want to continue. Ringworld, which I want to read a bunch of classic sci-fi and tell you which ones are worth it, but I am always afraid to read too many of them because they always have sexism, racism, homophobia. And you told me that it was the same in this one, so now I have this. Why? I have Woman on the Edge of Time. I was trying to find something similar to another book and I saw that. That sounded pretty appealing. We have The Calculating Stars. Okay, that one is definitely one of the ones I really want to read because you guys told me I was going to love this author and I tried something else by her and it was just okay, but you told me that this is better. This is the first book in the Lady Astronaut series, so I might pick this one up. Otherwise, I think again it's part of my challenge for next year for the Hugo Award and the... Why can I never remember the other one? You know what I mean. V for Vendetta. Life and Death Are Wearing Me Out, which this is part also of something I bought because I like the trope of people reliving their lives or their day over and over. And this is kind of that theme. And it won the, I think it's the Nobel Prize in Literature. So I'm curious, but I'm scared. Neverworld Wake, which is why sci-fi. This one is also people, is it reliving? Yeah, they're reliving the same day and they have to choose one of them to escape kind of thing. So we have The Gate of the Women's Country. I really want to read this because, again, it's supposed to be similar to I Who Have Never Known Men, like speculative fiction, feminist kind of book. And I love that book so much. So that's another one that is apparently similar. I might do a video actually next year where I try to find something as good and just read a couple books like that. We have The Anomaly, which controversial books, people either loving or hating this. And I believe that it's people going on a flight, and I don't remember exactly what happens. Like there's like turbulence and like, is it a different timeline or something? Either way, usually my jam, so I want to try that. We have A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World, which I believe is also a dystopian one, which I've been really loving, or I really liked the last 2 years, so I wanted to continue, so might be picking up this one. We have Doing Time, which I think has something to do with, is it time travel? Yeah. We have these two books from the series Doomsday Book and To Say Nothing of the Dog, which I've heard this title a lot, but I think this is the first book, and these were winner of the Hugo and Nebula Awards. There you go, Nebula. So if I don't read them this year, I might read them next year during that challenge, but sci-fi, again. The slum makes me really scared of big books. I'm just gonna, you know. We have The Vegetarians, which I've been wanting to read more translation, and this one is apparently really popular. It's not too big, and I read the other book of people eating people, and I believe this is somewhat similar, so I wanted to compare them. That sounds gross. And we have A Door into the Ocean, which also supposed to be somewhat similar to I Who Have Never Known Men, so that's like 3. So maybe we're sensing a vlog for next year. And then we have the 22 Murders of Madison May, because again, I like people reliving situations. Let's keep going. We have mystery, thriller, horror, although I've already kind of named it horror, but my month of October did not go as planned because I was supposed to read mystery, thriller, horror, but the reading slump has been killing me. So we have The One, which I really wanted to read that one. This one is like dystopian-ish, I want to say. But this is a strong contender for sure. We have The Final Group, The Final Girl Support Group, which I read another book by the author, really enjoyed it, but everyone told me this is his worst one, so now I don't really want to read it. We have The Violent Conspiracy, which I've been really looking forward to reading that one, but again, I'm waiting for the impulse, really. I have been also wanting, that was supposed to happen in October, but I really wanted to try this author because she's quite popular, but I just haven't because everyone told me that this was really hit or miss, so I'm nervous. What if I don't like it? I feel like I've been burned too many times with mystery thriller. We have Malice. I read in the book by the author, really enjoyed it, so murder mystery. We're gonna put it in the maybe. I also wanted to read some Agatha Christie, but I tried, okay, I'm gonna be honest, I tried to vlog it, I tried to read this, and even though it's short, I made it like 10 pages into it, so that never happened. Maybe next year, but there's something about her writing that just doesn't really work for me. We have No Exit. I really want to read this one because people told me that this is a like lock room kind of murder mystery-ish, and I really want to read those. I like those in general, and this one happens in the winter, so I might keep it for December though, but I really want to read this during the winter. I got Pride and Premeditation because it's like a retelling murder mystery of Pride and Prejudice, so I do want to read this eventually. This cover is killing me. It's so cool, but probably not this month. We have The Stranger Upstairs, which I might pick up. We have Bright Young Women, which I think is a like inspired of real life serial killer. The Turn of the Screw and Other Story short fiction. I really wanted to just read this one, first one, The Turn of the Screw, because another book I read is apparently inspired, and I wanted to know so from now on I can see whenever a book is inspired, but you know. Mother Thing. That cover is really cool too. A Great Deliverance. I'm trying to find good inspector kind of stories, and I have yet to find one. Devil House. What Lies in the Woods. Lone Women, which this brings me to the fact that I usually read or listen to audiobooks from the library throughout the month too, and I do have this one. So it's going to be my next audiobook, so I should be able to finish this during the month of November instead of October, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that for all my audiobooks this year, this month, oof. So I'll let you know, but at least one of them will be this one. So I should put this in the maybe, but really, I will pile. So let's do nonfiction. This is the year by far I have bought the most nonfiction ever. I buy most of my books used, by the way, for anyone new here, because this looks really insane. And a lot of them are like $1. But I don't usually find that many nonfiction books that I want to read because used nonfiction, I don't find much. Ooh, this is too much shocking. So keep in mind, a lot of these are going to be old feminist books because I bought most of them in 1 month because I found a giant pile, and I'm really curious to compare them to like modern ones, but it's all over the place, so just be ready. The ones from last month, I bought The Beauty Myth because I kept seeing that one quote, but now I've been warned that the author is questionable, so oops. I don't mind reading it just to see and compare, but I will be prepared mentally. I also found the Communist Manifesto because, yeah, we're gonna have some whiplash once again. I know. I'm only reading this to be able to notice when other people are doing these things, not to get tips and tricks to how to be a sociopath. Just, yeah. Then we have The Politics of Reality. I saw once again a quote of this one and I've been meaning to read it ever since. We have The Right to Sex, Survival of the Sickest, which I went on a phase of that too since last year. We have Emotional Labor, Feminism Interrupted, Word by Word, which is about dictionaries, Algorithms of Oppression, The Dawn of Everything. There's no way I'm reading this. I'm so scared of this one, but Because of Sex, which is about how the laws were changed to protect discrimination against sex. The Edge of the Sea, which the version of me as a child that wanted to be a marine biologist will love that. And then we go into the whole feminist thing. Those were two, but still. We have When God Was a Woman, The Feminine Mystique, The Chalice and the Blade, The Creation of Patriarchy. Actually, I'm currently reading Who Made the Last Supper or something. So I'm definitely going to have to finish that one in November before I start anything else. Sacred Pleasure. You can tell this is old. And then Pioneer Women. Those are all the old ones. And we have Spare Parts, which is the history of transplant surgery, which that sounds really cool, at least in theory. I'm going to let you know if it's worth it or not. And the one I think I'm going to be reading, because I bought it after seeing, I think it was a TikTok of the author. And I'm really trying to actually buy books when I am interested, like right away instead of forgetting about them. And this is The 7 Necessary Sins for Women and Girls. And I bought it because she was talking about how women are like raised into being like polite, but like who decided what politeness is and not everything. So that sounded really interesting. I think this is going to be the one I pick up because I'm realizing I forgot that I bought this and I really want to. So, you know. Let me know though if there's anything else that you think I should try and pick up. But like I said, I'm currently reading The Last Supper, Who Cooked the Last Supper, so that might end up taking me most of the month because it's been traumatizing to read. It is heavy. Yeah. Okay, last but not least, we have everything else. I'm realizing some of these are in the wrong pile, but it gives you an idea anyway. So everything else. You know how I've been annoyingly talking about I, who have never known men, nonstop? Well, I tried to get some books by the same author. Not this one. The same author. They sound like they're going to be completely different, but since I really enjoyed that one, I wanted to try something else by her. They are in French. I believe they have not been translated, at least not in English, so just be aware, but I do eventually want to read more by her. So we have En toute impunité. I'm so out of breath. La Dormition des Amants, and La Plage d'Ostende. So one day I want to, but probably not this month. We have Hygiène de l'Assassin, which I love that cover. This is the last book in French. The premise sounded intriguing, but probably not this month either. Okay, we have Bridget Jones' Diary. I one day want to compare the books to the movies that I've never read because why not? And I believe this one, people have told me it didn't really age well, but one day I would like to. This one I bought because of the title. I'm really trying to do that more because I'm intrigued to see if, you know, just a cover, just a title can be a reflection of how much I will enjoy a book. I'll do a vlog on this, so probably not this month, but I enjoy this one. This is Girls Against God. I'm intrigued. Same thing with this one. This is Everyone Knows Your Mother is a Witch. This one is The Miracles of the Nemia General Store, which I think this is considered magical realism. You have delinquents that are during the night in this general store during the night hiding, and they start receiving letters from the past owners. So I'm intrigued. We're gonna put that in the maybe pile, okay? And then we have Other Birds, which this is the same author as garden spells that I loved so much. And I really want to read this because the writing is apparently beautiful and I want to try more by the author. I don't know if it's going to happen this month, but everything else that she has written, she does have this one, but everything else except First Frost, my library has, so I will be getting those maybe as audiobook, maybe even in November if I have time. But this one I had bought before I realized that I really like her, so I have that. We have The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, which is apparently like a Victorian setting of like murder mystery. In theory, that sounds cool. We have Human Acts, which is the same author as The Vegetarian. There's no way I'm reading this one. Demon Copperhead, because this is... I'm in a reading slump. There's no way I'm reading this. But this could be part of my challenge next year of reading like winners or like nominees for challenges, for prize. This is the Oprah Book Club, but there's also, is it the Women's Prize? Something like that. But yeah, this is... terrifying. We have Women Talking because I wanted to watch the movie but wanted to read the book first. We have The Idiot, which this was part of when I had a phase of believing people saying that unstable girlies or like woman rage kind of books were good. I haven't picked it up because I was burnt, okay? I read so many recommendations and hated like 99% of them, so I don't know. Eventually I will pick it up. Once There Were Wolves, which is also something that I picked up because of the title cover, and I believe it's is it historical fiction? But I believe this woman is actually taking care of wolves, which I don't want to know because I bought it because of the title and I want it to be part of the challenge. We have a few classics. Are those? No, let me grab the other ones that are not classics. We have Love and Fury. Okay, I believe the other ones are all classics, which I don't have a ton of, but we have The Bluest Eyes, which I really want to read, but I know it's sad, and I don't know if I'm ready for this, but maybe. So I called it last time Sendition, but everyone told me it's Sendition. Let me know. But it's one of the only writing that I haven't read by Jane Austen yet, but I don't know if I'm ready. We have The Odyssey, which I'm really not reading right now, and The Iliad. No. No, reading slump. We have Middlesex, and then we have the most ridiculous book I've ever bought. Look at the size of this thing. Listen, I want to read classics. I want to read more of them, but I didn't realize how ridiculously big it was until I got it home. I feel like it just didn't hit me. The Age of Innocence. Listen, it's really pretty though, but it doesn't even fit on my bookshelves. I'll probably like display it somewhere because I really like it, but do you know how awkward it's going to be to read this? So not this month, not this month. One day though. Yeah. So let me grab the ones that I believe I will be reading and then you can add more to my TBR. So this is my unofficial TBR quickly, and then again, you can let me know other ones. So we have obviously the book club pick, yes. And the classic might happen in December though. Then we have the Calculating Stars, maybe. We have First Frost for sure. Lone Women for sure. I would like to read at least one of these. So we have The One and Malice, because again, it's still fall and I feel like I've been failing at my mystery thriller read all year, so yes. Who Cooked the Last Dinner? And if I finish it, I would like to read this one too. Maybe The Miracles of the Namia General Store? Maybe. I am in the mood for something more cozy, so that might work. And if I want to cry, The Bluest Eyes. I don't know. I would love for you to vote in the comment section. Which ones do you want me to read? Because everything on that list except the 2 book club picks, I'm willing to change them because this is your decision. What am I reading during the month of November? Solely books that I bought this year. I am nervous, but I feel like it's a fun challenge. I will be doing reading vlogs, so every week we can vote, try to switch it up depending on my mood, and I want to try to get through as many of them as possible because otherwise they're going to end up in the giant jar. And we do not want to have 500 books to read next year. I probably will, but let's try not to.